Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to today's reading from Madhya Lila of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We'll be starting chapter 21 of the Madhya Lila, the opulence and sweetness of Lord Shri Krishna. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langhete girim yat kripa tamham vande Shri Gurum Deen Tarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives the following summary of the 21st chapter. In this chapter, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fully describes Krishna Lok, the spiritual sky, the causal ocean, and the material world, which consists of innumerable universes. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then describes Lord Brahma's interview with Krishna at Dwarka and Lord's curbing the pride of Brahma. There is also a description of one of Krishna's pastime with Brahma. In this chapter, the author of the Chaitanya Charitamrita has presented some nice poems about the pastimes of Krishna and Krishna's super excellent beauty. Throughout the rest of the chapter, our intimate relationship sambandh with Krishna is described. Verse number 1. Agati ek gatin natva hinartha adhika sadhakam Shri Chaitanyam likhami asya madhuryaishwarya shikaram. Offering my obeisances unto Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, let me describe a particle of his opulence and sweetness. He is most valuable for a fallen condition, soul bereft of spiritual knowledge, and he is the only shelter for those who do not know the real goal of life. Verse number 2. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Dvaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhaktavinda. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Nityananda Prabhu, all glories to Advaita Acharya, and all glories to all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Verse 3. Sarva Swarupera Dhama Paravyoma Dhame Prithak Prithak Vaikuntha Sabha Nahika Ganane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, all the transcendental forms of the Lord are situated in the spiritual sky. They preside over spiritual planets in the abode, but there is no counting those Vaikuntha planets. Verse number 4. Shata Sahasra Ayut Laksha Koti Yojana Eka Eka Vaikunthera Vistara Varanan. The breadth of each Vaikuntha planet is described as 8 miles multiplied by 100, by 1,000, by 10,000, by 100,000, and by 10 million. In other words, each Vaikuntha planet is expanded beyond our ability to measure. Verse 5. Sab Vaikuntha Vyapak Ananda Chinmay Parishad Shadashwarya Purna Sabhaya. Each Vaikuntha planet is very large and each is made of spiritual bliss. The inhabitants are all associates of the Supreme Lord and they have all opulence like the Lord himself. This is how the Vaikuntha planets are all situated. Verse number 6. Ananta Vaikuntha Eka Eka Deshe Yarase Paravyoma Dhamera Kekaru Vistara. Since all the Vaikuntha planets are located in a certain corner of the spiritual sky, who can measure the spiritual sky? Verse 7. Ananta Vaikuntha Paravyoma Yara Dala Shreni Sarvopari Krishna Loka Karnikara Gani. The shape of the spiritual sky is compared to a lotus flower. The topmost region of that flower is called the whirl, and within that whirl is Krishna's abode. The petals of the spiritual lotus flower consist of many Vaikuntha planets. Verse number 8. Emata Shadashwarya Sthana Avatara Brahma Shiva Antanapaya Jiva Konachar. Each Vaikuntha planet is full of spiritual bliss, complete opulence and space, and each is inhabited by incarnations. If Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva cannot estimate the length and breadth of the spiritual sky and the Vaikuntha planets, how can ordinary living entities begin to imagine them? Verse 9. Koveti Bhuman Bhagwan Paratman Yogeshwarotir Bhavatas Trilokyam Kova Katham Va Kati Va Kadeti Vistarayan Kridashi Kridashi Yoga Mayam. O Supreme Great One, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Super Soul, Master of all mystic power, your pastimes are taking place continuously in these worlds, but who can estimate where, how, and when you are employing your spiritual energy and performing your pastimes? No one can understand the mystery of these activities. Purport. This verse is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.21. Verse 10. Emata Krishnera Divya Shadguna Ananta Brahma Shiva Sanakadi Napaye Yandra Anta. The spiritual qualities of Krishna are also unlimited. Great personalities like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the four Kumars cannot estimate the spiritual qualities of the Lord. Verse 11. Gunatmanas te api gunan vimatum hitavatir nasya ka isire sya asya kalena yer va vimitaha sukalpair Bhupamshavaha khe mihika dyu bhashaha. Mihika are the particles of snow. In time, great scientists may be able to count all the atoms of the universe, all the stars and planets in the sky, and all the particles of snow, but who among them can count the unlimited transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? He descends on the surface of the globe for the benefit of all the living entities. Purport. This verse is also quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.7. Verse number 12. Brahmadi Rahu Sahasra Vadane Ananta Nirantar Gaye Mukhe Na Paye Guner Anta. To say nothing of Lord Brahma, even Lord Ananta, who has thousands of heads, cannot reach the end of Lord's transcendental qualities, even though he is continuously chanting their praises. Verse 13. Nantam vidami aham ami munayo agrajaste maya balasya purushasya kuto avaraye gayen gunan dashas shatan nana adi devah shesho dhunapi samavasyati nasya param. If I, Lord Brahma, and your elder brothers, the great saints and sages, cannot understand the limits of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full of various energies, who else can understand them, although constantly chanting about his transcendental qualities? The thousand-hooded Lord Shesha has not yet reached the end of the Lord's activities, purported by his divine grace. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. This verse spoken to Narad Muni by Lord Brahma is also from Srimad Bhagavatam 2.7.41. Verse 14. Seho Rahu Sarvajana Shiromani Shri Krishna Nija Gunera Antana Pana Hayena Satrishna. To say nothing of Anantadeva, even Lord Krishna himself cannot find an end to his own transcendental qualities. Indeed, he himself is always eager to know them. Verse 15. Dyupataya evate na yayor antam anantaya tvam api yad antaranand nada nichya nanu savarnaha kha iva rajamsi vanti vayasa saha yach chrutayas tvai hi phalanti tan Nirasanena Bhavan Nidhanaha. My Lord, you are unlimited. Even the predominating deities of the higher planetary system, including Lord Brahma, cannot find your limitations, nor can you yourself ascertain the limit of your qualities. Like atoms in the sky, there are multi-universes with 7 coverings, and these are rotating in due course of time. All the experts in Vedic understanding are searching for you by eliminating the material elements. In this way, searching and searching, they come to the conclusion that everything is complete in you. Thus, you are the resort of everything. This is the conclusion of all Vedic experts. Purport. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.87.41, which was spoken by the personified Vedas, is confirmed by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad-Gita, Bhagavad-Gita 7.19. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudevah sarvam iti sa mahatma sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Even after searching for the absolute truth throughout the universe, learned scholars and Vedic experts cannot reach the ultimate goal. In this way, they come to Krishna. When there is a discussion about the absolute truth, there are always various pros and cons. The purpose of each argument is to come to the right conclusion. Such an argument is generally known as neti neti, not this, not that, until one comes to the right conclusion. The process of thinking, this is not the absolute, that is not the absolute truth, will continue. When we come to the right conclusion, we accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna as the ultimate truth. Verse 16, Seharahu vraje yabe Krishna avatar tanra charitra vicharite mananapaya par. Apart from all argument, logic and negative or positive processes, when Lord Shri Krishna was present as the Supreme Personality of Godhead at Vrindavan, no one could find a limit to his potencies by studying his characteristics and activities. Verse 17, Prakrita aprakrita srishti kaila ek kshane ashesha vaikuntha ajnada swa natha sane. At Vrindavan, the Lord immediately created all material and spiritual planets in one moment. Indeed, all of them were created with their predominating deities. Verse 18, Emata anyatra nahi shuniye adbhuta yahara shravane chitta haya avadhuta. We do not hear of such wonderful things anywhere else. Simply by one's hearing of these incidents, one's consciousness is agitated and cleansed. Purport. When Lord Krishna was present in the earthly Vrindavan, Lord Brahma, taking him to be an ordinary cowherd boy, wanted to test his potency. Therefore, Lord Brahma stole all the cows and cowherd boys from Krishna and hid them under his illusory energy. When Krishna saw that Brahma had stolen his cows and cowherd boys, he immediately created many material and spiritual planets in Lord Brahma's presence. Within a moment, cowherd boys, calves, and unlimited Vaikunthas, all expansions of the Lord's spiritual energy, were manifested. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Ananda Chinmay Rasa Pratibhav Avitabhi. Not only did Krishna create all the paraphernalia of his spiritual energy, but he also created unlimited material universes with unlimited Brahmas. All these pastimes, which are described in Srimad Bhagavatam, will cleanse one's consciousness. In this way, one can actually understand the absolute truth. The spiritual planets in the spiritual sky are called the Vaikunthas, and each one of them has a predominating deity, Narayan, with a specific name. Similarly, in the material sky, there are innumerable universes, and each is dominated by a specific deity, a Brahma. Krishna simultaneously created all these Vaikuntha planets and universes within a moment after Brahma's return. The word Avadhuta means rambling, agitating, moving, absorbed, defeated. In some readings of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said Yahar Shravane Chitta Mala Haya Dhuta. Instead of the word Avadhuta, the word Haya Dhuta, meaning that the heart or consciousness is cleansed, are used. When the consciousness is cleansed, one can understand what and who Krishna is. This is confirmed by Krishna in the Bhagavad-Gita 7.28. Yesham tva antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridha vrataha. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this lives, and whose sinful activities are completely eradicated, are fixed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. Unless one is freed from the reactions of sinful activities, one cannot understand Krishna or engage in his transcendental loving service. Verse 19, Krishna Vatsaira Asankhyaitahe Shukadeva Vani Krishna Sange Kata Gopi Sankhya Nahi Jani. According to Shukadeva Goswami, Krishna had unlimited calves and cowherd boys with him. No one could count their actual number. Verse 20, Ek ek gopa kare ye vatsara charana koti arbudha shankh padma tahar ganana. Each of the cowherd boys was tending cows to the extent of a koti, arbuda, shankha, and padma. That is the way of counting. Purport: according to Vedic mathematical calculations, the following enumeration system is used. Units: 10 means dasha, 100 is shata, thousands is sahasra, 10,000 ayuta, and 100,000 is laksha. 10 times laksha is niyuta, 10 times niyuta is koti, 10 times koti is arbuda, 10 times arbuda is vrinda, 10 times vrinda is kharva, 10 times kharva is nikharva, 10 times nikharva is shankha, 10 times shankha is padma, and 10 times padma is sagara. 10 times sagara is antya, and 10 times antya is madhya, and 10 times madhya is pararidha. Each item is 10 times greater than the previous. Thus all the cowherd boys who were companions of Krishna had many calves to take care of. Verse 21, Vetra Venu Dala Shringa Vastra Alankara Gopa Ganera Yata Tara Nahi Lekha Par. All the cowherd boys had unlimited calves. Similarly, their canes, flutes, lotus flowers, horns, garments, and ornaments were all unlimited. They cannot be limited by writing about them. Verse 22, Sabe Haila Chaturbhuja Vaikunthera Pati Prithak Prithak Brahmandera Brahma Kare Stuti. The cowherd boys then became 400 Narayans, predominating deities of Vaikuntha planets. All the separate Brahmas from different universes began to offer their prayers unto the Lords. Verse 23, Eka Krishna Deha Haite Sabar Prakashe Kṛṣṇeke Sabai says Sharire Praveshe. All these transcendental bodies emanated from the body of Krishna, and within a second they all entered again into his body. Verse 24, Iha dekhi Brahma Haila Mohit Vismita Stuti Kari Ei Pache Karila Nishchita. When the Lord Brahma from this universe saw this pastime, he was astonished and struck with wonder. After offering his praise, he gave the following conclusions. Verse 25, Ye kahe Krishnera Vaibhav Muni Sab Janon Se Januka Kai Mane Muni Ai Manun. Lord Brahma said, if someone says that he knows everything about Krishna's opulences, let him think that way, but as far as I am concerned, with my body and mind, I consider it in this way. Verse 26, Ye tomar ananta vaibhamarita sindhu mor van mano gamya nahe ek bindu. My Lord, your opulence is like an unlimited ocean of nectar, and it is verbally and mentally impossible for me to realize even a drop of that ocean. Verse 27, Jananta eva janantu kim bahuyukta name prabho manaso vapusho vacho vaibhavam etava gocharaha. There are people who say, I know everything about Krishna. Let them think that way. As far as I am concerned, I do not wish to speak very much about this matter. O my Lord, let me say this much. As far as your opulences are concerned, they are all beyond the reach of my mind, body, and words. Purport: this is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.38, spoken by the Lord Brahma when he had stolen Lord Krishna's calves and cowherd boys, and Krishna had exhibited his transcendental opulence by recreating all the stolen calves and cowherd boys by his Vishnu Murti expansions. After he had seen this, Brahma offered the above prayer. Verse 28, Krishnera Mahima Rahu Keba Tara Jata Vrindavana Sthanera Dekha Ascharya Vibhuta. Let the glories of Lord Krishna be. Who could be aware of all of them? His abode Vrindavan has many wonderful opulences. Just try to see them all. Verse 29, Shola Krosha Vrindavana Shastrera Prakashe Tara Eka Deshe Vaikuntha Janada Gana Bhase. According to the revelations of revealed scripture, Vrindavan extends only 16 kroshas, that is 32 miles. Nonetheless, all the Vaikuntha planets and innumerable universes are located in one corner of this tract. Purport: in Vraja, the land is divided into various vanas or forests. The forests total 12, and their extension is estimated to be 84 kroshas. Of these, the special forest known as Vrindavan is located from the present municipal city of Vrindavan to the village called Nandagram. The distance is 16 krosha or 32 miles. Verse 30, Apara Aishwarya Krishnera Nahika Ganana Shakha Chandra Nyaye Kari Dig Darshana. No one can estimate the opulence of Krishna. This is unlimited. However, just as one sees the moon through the branches of a tree, I wish to give a little indication. Purport. First, a child is shown the branches of a tree, and then he is shown the moon through the branches. This is called Shakha Chandra Nyaya. The idea is that first one must be given a simpler example, then the more difficult background is explained. Verse 31, Aishwarya Kahite Furila Aishwarya Sagara Manendriya Dubila Prabhu Haila Fanpara. While describing the transcendental opulence of Krishna, the ocean of opulence manifested in the mind of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and his mind and senses were immersed in this ocean. Thus he was perplexed. Verse 32. Bhagavatera e shloka padila apane artha aswadite sukhe karena vyakhyane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally recited the following verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, and to relish the meaning he began to explain himself. Verse 33. Swayam tva asamyatishyasya tri adhishaha Swarajya Lakshmi apta samasta kamaha balim haradbhis chiraloka palih kirita koti dita pad pithaha. Tri Adhisha is the master of three places, namely Golok Vrindavan, Vaikuntha-lok, and the material world, or the master of Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Kshirodakshay Vishnu, or the master of Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar, or the master of the three worlds, the higher, lower, and middle planetary systems. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is the master of the three worlds and the three principal demigods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. No one is equal to or greater than him. By his spiritual potency known as Swarajya Lakshmi, all his desires are fulfilled while offering their dues and presents in worship. The predominating deities of all the planets touch the lotus feet of the Lord with their helmets, thus they offer prayer to the Lord. Purport. This quotation is verse 21 of the second chapter, third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Verse 34, Parama Ishwara Krishna Swayam Bhagwan Tate Bada Tanrak Sama Keha Nahi Ana. Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thereafter, he is the greatest of all. No one is equal to him, nor is anyone greater than him. Verse 35, Ishvara Paramah Krishna Satchidanand Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna, known as Govinda, is the supreme controller. He has an eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, for he is the prime cause of all causes. Purport. This is the first verse of the fifth chapter of the Brahma Samhita. Verse 36, Brahma Vishnu Hara E Srishtyadi Ishvara Tine Ajnakari Krishnera Krishna Adhishvara. The primary predominating deities of the material creation are Lord Brahma, Lord Vishva, and Lord Vishnu. Nonetheless, they simply carry out the orders of Lord Krishna, who is master of them all. Verse 37, Srijami tan niyukto aham haro harati tad vashaha vishwam purusha rupena paripati tri shakti dhrik. Lord Brahma said, following the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I create, Lord Shiva destroys, and he himself, in the form of Kshirodakshay Vishnu, maintains all the affairs of material nature. Thus, the supreme controller of the three modes of material nature is Lord Vishnu. Purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 2.6.32. Verse 38, E Samanya Triyadhishvarera Shuna Artha Ar Jagat Karana Tina Purushavatara. This is only a general description. Please try to understand another meaning of Triyadhisha. The three Purusha incarnations of Vishnu are the original cause of the material creation. Verse 39, Mahavishnu Padmanabha Kshirodak Swami Aitina Sthulak Sukshma Sarva Antaryami. Mahavishnu, Padmanabha, and Kshirodakshai Vishnu are the super souls of all subtle and gross existences. Purport: Lord Mahavishnu is known as Karanodakshai Vishnu, the super soul of everything. Garbhodakshai Vishnu, from whose lotus navel Brahma was created, is also called Hiranyagarbha and is the total super soul. And the subtle super soul Kshirodakshai Vishnu is the universal form and the gross super soul. So this is very interesting and important verse of Madhya Lila. I'll repeat this purport again. Lord Mahavishnu is known as Karanodakshai Vishnu, the super soul of everything. Garbhodakshai Vishnu, from whose lotus navel Brahma was created, is also called Hiranyagarbha and is the total super soul and the subtle super soul. Kshirodakshai Vishnu is the universal form and the gross super soul. Verse number 40. Etina Sarvashraya Jagat Ishvara Eho Sab Kala Amsha Krishna Adhishvara. Although Mahavishnu, Padmanabha, and Kshirodakshai Vishnu are all shelters and controllers of all entire universes, they are nonetheless but plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of Krishna. Therefore, he is the original personality of Godhead. Verse 41. Yasyaika Nishvasita Kalam Athavalambya Jivanti Loma Vilavya Jagat Andanathaha Vishnur Mahan Sa Iha Yasya Kala Vishesho Govindamadi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. The Brahmas and the other lords of the mundane worlds appear from the pores of Mahavishnu and remain alive for the duration of his one exhalation. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom Mahavishnu is a portion of a plenary portion. Purport: this is a quotation from the Brahma Samhita 5.48. See also Adi Lila 5.71. Verse 42. Artha Madhyama Shuna Gudha Artha Ara Teen Avas Sthana Krishnera Shastre Khyati Yara. This is the middle meaning. Now please hear the confidential meaning. Lord Krishna has three places of residence which are well known from the revealed scriptures. Purport: Krishna has three abodes: his internal abode, Golok Vrindavan, the intermediate abode, the spiritual sky, and his external abode, the material world. Verse 43. Antahapura Golok Shri Vrindavana Yahan Nitya Sthiti Mata Pita Bandhu Gana. The internal abode is called Golok Vrindavan. It is there that Lord Krishna's personal friends, associates, father and mother live. Verse 44. Madhurya Aishwarya Madhurya Kripadi Bhandara Yogamaya Dasi Yahan Rasa Adi Lila Sara. Vrindavan is the storehouse of Krishna's mercy and the sweet opulences of conjugal love. This is where the spiritual energy, working as a maidservant, exhibits the rasa dance, the quintessence of all pastimes. Verse 45. Karuna Nikuramba Komale Madhura Aishwarya Vishesha Shalini Jayati Vraja Raja Nandane Nahi Chinta Kanika Bhyudeti Naha. Vrindavan Dham is very soft due to the mercy of the Supreme Lord and is especially opulent due to the conjugal love. The transcendental glories of the son of Maharaj Nanda are exhibited here. Under the circumstances, not the least anxiety is awakened within us. Verse 46. Taratale Paravyoma Vishnu Loka Nama Narayana Adi Ananta Swarupera Dhama. Below the Vrindavan planet is the spiritual sky, which is known as Vishnu Lok. In Vishnu Lok, there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets controlled by Narayan and innumerable other expansions of Krishna. Verse 47. Madhyama Avas Krishnera Shad Aishwarya Bhandar Ananta Swarupe Yahan Karena Vihar. The spiritual sky, which is full of in all 6 opulences, is the intermediate residence of Lord Krishna. It is there that an unlimited number of forms of Krishna enjoy their pastimes. Verse 48. Ananta Vaikuntha Yahan Bhandar Kothari Parishad Ganesh Shad Aishwarya Ache Bhari. Innumerable Vaikuntha planets, which are just like different rooms of treasure house, are all there, filled with all the opulences. Those unlimited planets house the Lord's eternal associates, who are all enriched with the 6 opulences. Verse 49. Golok namni nija dhamni tale satasya devi mahesh hari dhamsu teshu te prabhava nichaya Vihitaschayena Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Below the planet named Golok Vrindavan are the planets known as Devi Dham, Mahesh Dham, and the Hari Dham. These are opulent in different ways. They are managed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda, the original Lord. I offer my obeisances unto him. Purport: this is a quotation from Brahma Samhita 5.43, verse 50. Pradhan Parama Vyomanor Antare Viraja Nadi Vedang Sweda Janatais Toye Prasaravita Shubha. Between the spiritual sky and the material world is a body of water known as river Viraja. This water is generated from the bodily perspiration of the Supreme Lord, who is known as Vedanga. Thus the river flows. Purport: this verse and the following verse are from the Padma Puran. Verse 51. Tasyaha pare paravyomatri pad bhutam sanatanam amritam shashvatam nityam anantam paramam padam. Beyond the river Virja is the spiritual sky, nature which is destructible, eternal, inexhaustible, and unlimited. It is a supreme abode consisting of 3/4 of the Lord's opulences. It is known as Paravyom, the spiritual sky. Purport: in the spiritual sky there is neither anxiety nor fear. It is eternally existing, and it consists of 3/4 of the Lord's energy. The material world is an exhibition of only 1/4 of the Lord's energy. Therefore, it is called Ekpada Vibhuti. Verse 52. Taratale Bhahyavasa Virajar Para Ananta Brahmanda Yahan Kothari Apar. On the other side of the river Viraja is the external abode, which is full of unlimited universes, each containing unlimited atmospheres. Verse 53. Devi Dham Nam Tara Jiva Yaravasi Jagal Lakshmi Rakhi Rahe Yahan Maya Dasi. The abode of the external energy is called the Devi Dham, and its inhabitants are the conditioned souls. It is there that the material energy Durga resides with many opulent maid servants. Purport: because he wants to enjoy the material energy, the conditioned soul is allowed to reside in Devi Dham, the external energy, whereas God Durga carries out the orders of the Supreme Lord as his maid servant. The material energy is called Jagal Lakshmi because she protects the bewildered conditioned souls. Durga, goddess, is therefore known as the material mother, and Lord Shiva, her husband, is also known as material father. Goddess Durga is so named because this material world is like a big fort where the conditioned soul is placed under her care. For material facilities, the conditioned soul tries to please God Durga. The mother Durga supplies all kinds of material facilities. Because of this, the conditioned souls are allured and do not wish to leave external energy. Consequently, they are continuously making plans to live here peacefully and happily. Such is the material world. Verse 54. Eitina dhamera haya Krishna adishwara golok pravyoma prakritira para. Krishna is the supreme proprietor of all dhams, including Golok Dham, Vaikuntha Dham, and Devi Dham. The Paravyom and Golok Dham are beyond Devi Dham, this material world. Purport: when a living entity is liberated from Devi Dham but does not know the opulence of Hari Dham, he is placed in Mahesh Dham, which is between the other two dhams. The liberated soul does not get opportunity to serve the Supreme Lord of God, Supreme Personality of Godhead there. Therefore, although this Mahesh Dham is Lord Shiva's Dham, the above Devi Dham is not the spiritual world. The spiritual world begins with the Hari Dham or Vaikuntha. Verse 55. Chit Shakti Vibhuti Dhama Tripad Aishwarya Nama Maika Vibhuti Ekapad Adhidhan. The spiritual world is considered to be 3/4 of the energy and opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas this material world is only 1/4 of that energy. This is our understanding. Purport: Haridham, Paravyoma, and Golok, Vrindavan are beyond the material cosmic manifestation. They are celebrated as 3/4 of the Lord's energy. The material world conducted by Supreme Lord's external energy is called Devi Dham and is a manifestation of 1/4 of his energy. Verse 56. Tripad vibhuter dhamatvat tripad bhutanam hi tat padam vibhuter mayaki sarva prokta padatmika yataha. Because it consists of 3/4 of Lord's energy, the spiritual world is called Tripad Bhuta, being a manifestation of 1/4 of the Lord's energy, and the material world is called Ekpad. Purport: this verse is found in the Laghu Bhagavatamrit 1.5.563. Verse 57. Tripad Vibhuti Krishnera Vakya Agochara Ekapad Vibhutir Sunaha Vistar. Thus 3/4 parts of the Lord Krishna's energy is beyond our speaking power. Let us therefore hear elaborately about the remaining 1/4 of his energy. Verse 58. Ananta Brahmandera Yata Brahman Rudra Gana Jira Lokapala Shabde Tanhar Ganana. Actually, it is very difficult to ascertain the number of universes. Every universe has its separate Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva and are known as permanent governors. Therefore, there is also no cause, no counting them. Purport: Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are called three Lokapala, permanent governors. This means that they are given the affairs of this means that they given affair of the Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are called Chira Lokapala. So the translation was saying that actually it is very difficult to ascertain number of universes. Every universe has its separate Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, who are known as permanent governors. Therefore, there is also no counting them. Purport: Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are called Chira Lokapala, permanent governors. This means that they govern the heirs of universes from the beginning of the creation to the end. In next creation, the same living entities may not be present. but because Brahma and Shiva are existing and Shiva existing from the beginning to the end, they're also called Chira, Lokapala, permanent governors. Lekapal means predominating deities. Lokapal. There are 8 deities of the prominent. This means that they govern the affairs of the universe from the beginning of the creation to the end. In next creation, the same entities may not be present, but because Brahma Samhita and Shiva are existing from the same living entities may not be present, but because Brahma and Shiva are existing from the beginning to the end, they are called Chira Loka Pala, permanent governors. Loka Pala means predominating deities. There are 8 predominating deities of the permanent heavenly Ekalokapala, permanent governors. Lokapala means predominating deity. There are 8 predominating deities of the prominent heavenly planets, and they are light. They are Indra, Yama, Aga, Varuna. This means they govern the affairs of the universe from the beginning of the creation to the end. In next generation, the same living entities may not be present, but because Brahma and Shiva are existing from the beginning to the end, they are called Chira Lokapala, permanent governors. Lokapala means predominating deities. There are 8 dominating deities of the prominent heavenly planets, and they are Indra, Agni, Yama, Varuna, Nivriti, Vayu, Kuvera. And Shiva. Verse 59. Ek dina dwarkate Krishna dekhi bare, Brahma aila dwapar pala janaila Krishnere. Once when Krishna was walking the Dwarka Logu, Ek din dwarkate Krishna dekhi bare, Brahma aila dwarpala janaila Krishnere. One day Krishna was ruling Dwarka and Lord Brahma came to see him, and the doorman's intensity confirmed. And the doorman immediately informed Lord Krishna of Balram's arrival. So let's read this verse again. Ek dina dwarkate Krishna dekhi bare, Brahma aila dwarpal janaila Krishnere. Once when Krishna was ruling over Dwarka, Lord Brahma came to see him, and the doorman immediately informed Krishna of Brahma's arrival. Verse 260 to 21 chapter and verse 60. Krishna kahena kaun Brahma ki naam tahara, dwari asi Brahma ne. So we're on verse 60 now. Krishna kahena kaun Brahma ki naam tahar, dwari asi Brahmare puche arbara. When Krishna was so informed, he immediately asked the doorman, which Brahma, what is his name? The doorman therefore returned and questioned Lord Balram. Purport from this verse we can understand that Brahma is the name of the post, and the person occupying the post has a particular name also from the Bhagavad-Gita, Imam Vivasvate Yogam. Vivasvan is the name of the predominating deity of the sun. He is called Surya, the sun god, and then he has also his own particular name. The governor of the state is generally called Rajapal, but he also has his own individual name, since there are hundreds and hundreds of Brahmas with different names. Krishna would know which of them had come to see him. So we'll continue our reading next time for verse number 61 of the 21st chapter. Thank you for joining. Hare Krishna.